Good evening. I'm back. Yeah, one more time. It's four times this week, and hey, it's going good. Glad to be here, broadcasting live from our Panama City studio. Yes, we do. Jeffrey Meldon asked me, "You got a studio in Panama City?" Well, this is it. It was the start of it, and we'll be here tonight. Got a special show for you tonight. I'm Buddy Martin. The program is called The Buddy Martin Show. There's a coincidence, and we'll be with you for the next hour. Ben Troupe will be here. Ben, of course, is we call him Pastor Ben because he's always preaching some good gospel about the Gators. He'll be along shortly. And then our special guest tonight, Jeffrey Meldon. Jeffrey, as you know, is a longtime sponsor, big booster for the University of Florida. He's got a big event tomorrow night in Gainesville, and I've been invited to be there. I'm looking forward to it. I, along with others, will be at that special event. Tell you about that. Then it's, of course, the Iron Duke, who's always along on Thursday night, writes beautiful stuff for us and Gator Bait and appears on this program regularly. Franz will be here, and then we'll top it off with the coach, Loren Meadows, all tonight, right here on this show. Can you believe it? Right here, right now, tonight on the Buddy Martin Show. Call your friends and neighbors and tell them we are now on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Hello, there I am. Here I am. I'm here. Took me an extra second or two tonight. A little slow on the uptake, but glad to be with you because it's a special night in the orange and blue, waiting as he always is when he's at the pulpit. The pastor himself, Ben Troupe, will have many good things to say. He must have been saying something right because things appear to be going well for the Gators these days and many fronts, especially recruiting. We'll talk about that. Had a little blip on the screen this week earlier about the communications department, which really, to be honest with you, I know most of you don't care about. We do because it's our life, and we had a conversation about it last night, quite a long one. I know Ben will have something to offer on that. And then Jeffrey Meldon, who's got this event tomorrow night in Gainesville. I'm honored to be on the day, so I don't know how I got on there with Coach Spurrier and some of the folks on that. He'll be honoring the scholar athletes for the year at the University of Florida, right at the swamp at a special dinner. So I and my wife will be there, and probably Brendan will be there. We'll see who else. So that's all going on. Let's just go right to the orange and blue room. He's all teed up, ready to go. He's always ready to go. So glad to have him on this show. We've been doing this a long time. And it's my pleasure again to welcome Ben Troupe. What's up, Benny?
What's going on today, buddy? Hey, congrats to I know a big night tomorrow night. I think whenever Coach Spurrier make an appearance, it's always a big deal. But I would say whenever Buddy Martin they said we're gonna get Buddy Martin we'll get Buddy Martin back in the 352. I don't know what area code he's in right now. It is not the
350.
He's in the 850 somewhere. BJ Bennett is going crazy. BJ Bennett is a big fan of the 850, but
yeah.
Hey, whenever these scholar athletes get recognized, I think sometimes, buddy, we make it so much about the sport, and it's like we get so far away from the person and what they can control off the field. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to hear some great sound bites from tomorrow night.
I don't know about that part, but let me just ask you. I want to go and have fun. Listen, it's a famous quote out there by a guy named George Goebel. One night he was on the Johnny Carson show with Burt Reynolds and some other superstar. And, George Goebel was so understated. He made a famous quote was, I feel like a pair of brown shoes with a tuxedo. That's how I feel this group. But glad to be there. It's going to be a classy event, as it always is, with Jeffrey, and looking forward to that. And we'll have him on in a moment. Ben, I need you to help me out. Number one, I want you to help me clarify what you think you heard or know about the situation at the University of Florida and the Rick Hurtado situation. He left, of course, this week to go join the Dolphins. I'll talk in specifics about that, how it came out. I did break the story online and then there were some other comments that followed. And then I want you to tell me if you had 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes to talk to some group of young, really smart kids about education, mostly about scholarship, because being a scholar is a special thing. And when you're a scholar athlete, scholar means you're really an expert on things and they're smart. What would you tell those kids without sounding like you're preaching to them again? Oh yeah, go to school, good. What would you tell them from your life experience about the importance of being a scholar athlete?
I will let them know that that's the one part of their life that's going to take them farther than athletics ever will. That's going to be the one part of their life that they're going to look back on it, and their future self is going to thank them for their present self. And I think the thing about being a scholar athlete, buddy, is saying that, look, I want to be able to compete in the world, not in the world of sports. I want to be able to compete in the world. I want to be able to walk in any room, whether that's a board meeting, whether that's a high rise, big time meeting to where I got to wear, a suit and tie. Because the thing is, I want to show people, man, to me, that's that holistic part. I'm a complete person, meaning you see the way you see me out there on the field or the diamond or the court. Yeah, that's the same way I am when you can't see me. I'm competing the same way, because a lot of times, buddy, no one wants to be known, right, as the smart guy. But Joshua Dobbs is one of the greatest. Joshua Dobbs he's an engineering man. He's going to work for NASA when he's done playing football, right? Do you know how much better his football life is because he knows that's his plan B? His plan B just still working. His plan A was what he did in the classroom. And the thing about it is, if you don't want to be seen as just an athlete, prove it. That's what Coach used to tell us. You don't want me to just see you as a person that gets can play. Prove it. Meaning you are academic All-American, not just an athletic All-American. And the thing about it is, buddy, no matter what, the Gators that you appreciate is the ones that put on events that have nothing to do with the sport. They doing seminars and symposiums and workshops, and they saying, man, you play football? Yeah. But I always knew that football was my vehicle, basketball was my vehicle to get through school for free. And I used that to go to grad school, go to med school, and so on and so forth. So I would say to the scholar athlete,
Wait, you went to med school, dude?
Oh no. But Myron Rowe, who went to that school on the Panhandle.
Really. I said to throw out an academic scholar.
He's a Rhodes scholar. He's a Rhodes scholar, meaning he said he was on a flight. And somebody had a medical emergency on the flight. And they said, is there a doctor? And he was on the flight. And he said he was able to help. It was him and another doctor. They was able to help whoever that injured individual was. They were still able to land, and they was able to get medical help. But I just think, buddy, the thing about the scholar part is that's the part you can't control. That's the part that, everybody be thinking that, you want those people like, you want to be smart, you want to be because sport has an expiration date. It could be over today.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's through injury, whether that's through playing time, whether that's through circumstance, whatever. Being a scholar means, man, I decide how far I go. I decide what I do. Now I might not make and long as it's not based in money. If it's based in fulfillment and what I get to do, buddy, I'm just saying, and the greatest thing about it is, buddy, you get to have, as Coach Spurrier used to say, I get to have 2 storytelling sessions. I get to have a storytelling session about who I was as a player. Now I get to have a storytelling session of who I am as a person. And I think the second one is far greater than the first, because as much as Coach Spurrier is going to be at the event tomorrow, right?
Yes,
people want to see that.
I got to follow him. I'm not going to follow the head.
Listen, buddy, I guarantee you this. The one thing Coach Spurrier made sure I understood about the position I hold back then and back now is to be appreciative and gracious. Listen, man, be gracious with your time. Be appreciative of the people around you because you are only you because of them. Back then and right now. That he showed as great as he was, and will ever be, he was always gracious with his time. He was always appreciative. He didn't have to be. So for me, you trying to emulate that, and that's the scholar part. The scholar part is, buddy, you know, my name is Benjamin Troupe. So if you don't know me, I don't sound like how I look or what my name. So when I walk in and I'm the one doing the seminar, they're thinking, yeah, because I had to learn that I want to be around. I want to be around Patrick Patrick Young. Listen, Patrick Young is one of the best examples of making sure you are a whole individual. Because most
I
people,
think I believe he made the Meldon Law Scholar Athlete three straight years. I believe.
and he was SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He was both. Like he got to be both. So, and even listen, even with his current situation of being injured, he's still selling his books. He's still living his life. Why? Because I want to be in both arenas, buddy. Like this. Listen, I want to go speak to the team, and I want to go speak to the student body.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have something to say to both, not just. So to me, so if you are a scholar out there, and somebody tells you, ain't nobody trying to listen to that smart guy. Well, you better think again. I say, look, you be a smart guy that can hit hard, run fast, jump high, and make plays. That way, when my playing days are over, I'm on here with Buddy Martin right now because I embrace this part of me. Yes, I love what I was as a player, but this part, man, anybody that says that this part of you is not going to be more fun than the athlete, they are lying. I'm telling you, I don't care if you play 30 years, like LeBron. This part of you is more fun because I want to know people. And the only way I'm gonna know people is by people getting to know me, by being on these type of shows and platforms. So hey, shout out to the scholars out there, man, who you don't got to have on a suit. And listen, scholars don't got to have on suit and ties and $10,000 Tom Ford suits. You can walk in with a t-shirt on. As long as you can deliver the subject matter with a smile and grace and appreciation. Hey man, go out there and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't take you long to get tuned up on the pulpit there tonight, brother. You got it going on. I'm thinking as I think about scholars being scholars, I was not a great student, but I was passionate about the subject I was in, and I worked at it. I think to be a scholar, just being real smart is not enough. It requires diligence.
Yes.
You have to really want to go after it,
Yes.
and that's how you grow in terms of who you are. So, I think that's right. It's going to be a fun night to do that. We're going to be joined by Jeffrey here, hopefully in a couple of minutes, and we're going to come back and talk about some of the good things happening. I know you want to talk about Cormani McLean. There's some things there we need to discuss tonight. And now perhaps another wide receiver coming. We'll see from Arizona State. Things, and you look at the overall body of work now, what Billy has done. And he made this comment the other night in Jacksonville, although we didn't hear it. We had to hear it secondhand because no one from our paper was allowed to go cover it. I shouldn't say that. Didn't go cover it. And the fact is that Billy said we can be a little pickier now.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah.
You got your roster, right? Got my boys here all set, 85 strong. And they got to be some exceptional people, which Cormani McLean was, because he's coming as a preferred walk-on, which, by the way, what's in-state tuition cost anyway today? And that'll be taken care of. That'll be taken care of.
I think it's NIL money or whatever he got.
About it.
I'll be able to take care of that.
Yeah. And here's our friend. Let's get him right on to the place that he comes quite often. And I'm going to publicly thank him for what he has done for not just us, it's been a lot, but also for the University of Florida. I dare say not many people have done as much for the Gators in Florida as this man, my friend Jeffrey Meldon. Say hello to Ben Troupe.
Ben, how you doing tonight?
Hey, listen, I'm on with a full blown legend. You and your dad. Let me tell you something.
No,
Hey,
he's the dad. He is the
well,
dad.
listen. Will you
Hey,
whoever?
that's a good compliment, Jeffrey. Look
Hey,
at
Thank
listen.
you, Ben. Thank you.
Hey, the convert. I will say this, Mr. Meldon. The people like yourself, man. We were just talking about scholars and being able to make sure we got impacts away from the game. And when we see what you do and how you do, hey man, we trying to follow in them footsteps, man. I mean, keep making them commercials, keep doing what you're doing. Hey, I've seen you. I've seen you more times in the last year and a half than I've seen anybody. I said, I feel like I know him, man. I see him so many times every Thursday night.
Yeah, you see
You
him all the time
know,
on our show.
hey guys, that's all Freddie Weeby's fault, guys.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, there's another one right there, a pair of draw to. I'm going to say this publicly, and I'm not going to say it maybe ever again. And I don't want Jeffrey and Freddie to get the big head because right now, two of the most important people, not just here, but at University of Florida in terms of sports, are Freddie Weeby, who's a giant of a guy who's got a giant of a job, and this guy, Jeffrey Meldon, who has personally done more for the Gators than anybody I know. I hear about all these things, people, they don't name the stadium after him because he's always doing great stuff. And I'm honored to be on that day tomorrow night at the Meldon Law Scholar Athlete Award again, which you've been doing for a lot of years. And you did it back when you didn't have quite the money you used to have that you have now, and you kept it going. We're talking about the great people like Patrick Young, etc. Talk about Scholar Athlete. I know you're proud of it, Jeffrey.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of background. In 1996, my son Kerry Meldon led Gainesville High School to a state championship in tennis. He played number one singles and doubles.
Yeah.
And we were all very proud. They did a feature on TV 20 of Kerry. And I still have the little, interview with him on VHS tape. I don't know how to get it converted, but I'm sure that Brendan could help us figure
Brendan
it
could definitely help us on that.
out. And so then I was also sponsoring, this is 1996, I was sponsoring the sports scene show that Larry Vittel had on WRUF 850. And we got together in 1997 and said, what could we do to really make an impact in the sports world around North Central Florida? And we started the Scholar Athlete program that year. And it was great. You know, we gave one award per month to a male, one female. And who was our winner in the female? You'll remember this, Ben. I don't know if you'll remember Sally Fields, the flying nun.
Really?
Yeah, no, it was her niece, Amanda Fields. Okay, was a great tennis player, and she lived in Gainesville. So anyhow, that was our first class. A couple of years later, I get a call from TV 20, and they want to know if I want to partner with them to do the TV 20 Meldon Law Scholar Athlete of the Year. And that's really when the program just blew up, because TV 20 was a big dog in Gainesville. Everybody watched the evening news. And that's when we had our feature of each of the scholar athletes out at their high school with their coach, showing their athletic ability as well as their incredible gift as far as academics. And it just has taken off. The partnership is so cool. I got to read you a couple. These are some of our scholar athletes of the year. So we give out a scholarship, half female, half male, all year long during the school year. And then at the end of the year, we have a big banquet. Usually, we used to have it at the Hilton Hotel. We'll tell them where it's going to be in a minute. But anyhow, we have had some incredible scholar athletes over the years. Just a few names that you might know. Let's see, C.J. Spiller, great football player, went to Buffalo. Andrew Miller, great pitcher. Ian Scott, he was a rock. Laramie Tunsil, okay, not bad. Cornelius Ingram, Freddie Swain, Kavarius Hayes. That's just a few, okay. So what we've been able to do is honor these kids that were bright, and all of those names. You know, they went on to great success. You know, in sports, but they were even better as people.
Yeah. Well, it's quite an outstanding program, and in the remaining minutes, I want to talk to you a little bit about you. People say, why does Jeffrey Meldon do so much for the University of Florida? And I said, well, you have to ask him, but my guess is he loves the Gators. He's always loved the Gators. He's in a position now to do something for them. He's aligned himself with him because he believes in what they're doing. And I think that's the answer. I don't know. So I'll ask you that question. Why do you do all this stuff, Jeffrey?
Well, first of all, it's fun. I mean, I'm the first friggin' lawyer in the country, in the world, to be the official law firm partner of the Florida
I
Gators.
know. How'd you pull that one off?
Okay. And we got all these big shots around the state, you know, who'd love to do it. However, I think a local boy should be the first, right?
Yes.
And, you know, so that's one reason I do it, because it's a win-win, buddy.
Well, it is, and but I mean, you brought a new level of that to you being a Gator and a supporter and a fan and all the things you do, and Freddie's amazing. He's just amazing. He's got probably the impossible job there as the head of the corporate arm of Florida Victorious. But if anybody can do it, Freddie Wheatley can do it.
Yeah, we went over to Jacksonville to hear Billy Napier talk to the Jacksonville club last Monday. Freddie and I drove over to help set up the Florida Victorious booth and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, the Florida has such an advantage. We've got 500,000 alumni, living alumni. We've got 3 million fans. We're the Gators, no matter what city you go to in the state of Florida, we are number one. You go down to Miami, there's more Gator fans there than there are Hurricane fans. Okay? So all we need to do is have somebody who's bright, knows how to organize it, to gather all the troops to help, whether it's NIL or anything else, because when NIL is changed and things, you know, are structured a little better, I think it's still going to come down to the fans supporting those teams. And look, Freddie's got a program for $96 a month, which is about, you know, $1,100 a year. You support the Gators, be part of Florida Victorious, and make a difference. Can you imagine 10,000 of the 500,000 Gator alumni and some of the other 2.5 million Gator fans would be willing to chip in $96 a month? We wouldn't have any of these NIL problems.
For sure. Now tell people about this special night tomorrow night. It's not going to be at the Hilton, is it?
No. This is our 25th anniversary, so we decided that we had to go big time. So we rented out the whole friggin' stadium, and we're going to have it at the Champions Club. And I mean, it's going to be a blast. We got we got Hill's Barbecue Catering. We got my good friend Dan Hathcock, who's doing an amazing job of taking that room, the Champions Club, and turning it into a special place and a special night. We've invited back all of our 750 scholarship winners.
Wow.
And we you know, just want to honor not only the current class, but the past class over 25 years. And I'll tell you, buddy, it's probably one of the things I'm most proud of.
I know you are. I know you are. That's why I wanted to have you on here tonight, because I know how proud you are of this. You talk about it all the time, and this is terrific thing. And with all this other stuff going on with fundraising, which is important, we got to keep it to the point of the level of the athletes and scholars that don't necessarily become world class athletes, but are terrific people and the classroom on the field and as citizens. That's why I love the Scott Brantley Trophy, which is honors that same thing. And we've had several of your people who won that award too. So congratulations! I can't wait to get there tomorrow night. And let's do it, man. It's going to be great stuff tomorrow night.
Ben, if you want to come by, Ben, come on by.
Man, get in that car and drive on down here. Come on, man.
Listen, if I will say this, if I obviously if I could, I mean I would definitely be there, Mr. Meldon. I will say this, as a former Florida Gator myself, people be thinking that you be wanting the All Americans or the All SEC stuff like tomorrow night when you go look, man. I got recognized for what I can control. I control off the field. On the field, I mean, it's so many circumstances, and to know. I mean, Ian Scott was that's my recruit. That's class of 2000. Cornelius Ingram. I mean, part of tight end at Florida. C.J. Spiller. I mean, this boy got every gift there was to play running back. Jesus Christ! I know he went on. So to everybody's going to be there tomorrow. I know they're going to enjoy themselves because in life, I don't care who you are, what you are. You want to be remembered, man. No matter when people say, "I don't care if nobody remembers me," that's lies. Of course you do. So. And congratulations on 25 years and counting. I mean, to everybody's going to be there tomorrow night. Coach Spurrier going to be in the building. Buddy Martin is going to be in the building. People, he going to get in his car and drive across the state from the Panhandle back to the 352. Get your cameras ready. Henry Meldon, Buddy Martin in the building. Get your cameras ready. This only happens once a year, people. It only happens once a year.
Yeah. So everybody tomorrow.
Hold it up. There you go, right there.
Yes.
So Patrick Young, what a guy! I asked him to join us, and he said, I got to be in Tampa. I've got an engagement. However, I would love to do a video message to the kids. Not only that, he personally signed every book to every scholar athlete and every coach that's going to be there. Okay, and what an inspiration! I mean, to have. Buddy Martin, Steve Spurrier, and Patrick Young. That's quite a lineup.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you what I told Ben earlier. I remember a famous line by George Goebel on the Tonight Show when he was there with Burt Reynolds and some other superstar. And George Goebel, who was very underspoken, quietly said, "I feel like a pair of brown shoes with a tuxedo." That's what I mean. That's what I am. I'm the brown shoes. I'm happy to be there. It's going to be a great night. Congratulations. And we'll get Ben there next time. Thank you, Jeffrey. See you tomorrow night.
Okay. Good night. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Right.
I'm the son.
He is. I'm gonna say, Jerry Meldon. That's the son, right? Like, that's the son. That's the daddy and the son. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what Ben tells people about me. He sits at the bar with a picture of me and tells people I'm his uncle.
Yeah, that's my uncle.
They look at it and think, wait a minute, what's different about this? He just dares them to say something.
I said, that's my uncle right there. I said, what are you trying to say? We don't look alike? That's my uncle. That's my uncle. That's my grandmother's youngest child right there. Get out of here.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you one more secret. I'm going to close with this one. There's 3 dudes that are 79 this year, okay? Steve Spurrier, Dr. Pete Indelicato, and myself.
Let me tell you something.
Those are good dudes right there.
Listen, I pray to God give me 79 years and more. When I'm 79 years old, I better be doing podcasts, talking to 25. When people listen, I said, I asked my dad, I said, Daddy, why you work every day? He said, because I don't want to get old, son. He said, I get better. I don't get old. So I'm getting better like Mr. Meldon. I'm getting better like Steve Spurrier, getting better like Buddy Martin. I'm taking that Buddy Martin, Mr. Meldon, and Steve Spurrier juice. I'm drinking it every day. I got to figure out what it is, but when I figure out what it is, I'm going to mix it up, put some ice in it, and I'm going to sip on it.
I got to go. It's getting really deep around here right now.
Hey, buddy, you're leading the way, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I know. And in what regard? I don't know about that. If I want to lead that right or not. This bunch. Hey, listen, thank you guys. It's good fun. We'll do this again soon. See you tomorrow night. Looking forward to it.
Thank
All
you.
right. Jeffrey Meldon, there's a great guy right there. A guy that does a lot of good things. Ben, while I get ready to get Franz the link, which apparently he didn't get, how I don't know exactly. Would you please deliver your feelings? Tell me what you think about the whole news from Cormani McLean. How do you feel about it? What's happening to it, and do you think it'll be a big plus or just a good pickup?
I think it's gonna be up to Cormani. I think it's a big plus? Absolutely, because make no mistake about it. Two things are true. Colorado did not want to see him go, and a bunch of teams wanted to add him to their roster. That everybody knew that was true. And the thing about Cormani, I mean, it says a lot about Billy Napier and his staff to still have enough report. Because he's from here, and I saw him take the picture with Ahmad Black. It says a lot, buddy, because people sit back and watch Billy Napier, and they judge him on the wins and losses, and I get it. They're supposed to. And I get it with early signing day and national signing day. It didn't necessarily go the way we wanted to. Now, we did get the two coveted guys at defensive end and obviously quarterback, Lagway and company and McCray. But when you think about a guy like Cormani, this is what it does really, though. You look at the controversy and how everything happened in Colorado, and everybody was jumping on him. I mean, he's a 19, 20-year-old young man who just decided to go into the portal. But because he's a five-star athlete, it's why everybody jumped on him. To see him jump in the portal and understand how coveted of a player he still is and was, and for Florida to get him, number one, it shows this. Number one, Billy Napier knows what he's doing when it comes to this recruiting thing. Number two, he wasn't begging him. It wasn't no please come on. No. But I'm gonna tell you who really helped this come to the forefront. Coach Will Harris.
He's having a day, isn't he? Man.
When you look at his pedigree, when you look at what he means, because DBs, right? DBs is a different type of position. You got to have a guy who understands the position, knows how to coach a position, knows how to get the best out of the position. Those type of things matter. So think about this. Not saying that Billy Napier got a crystal ball, but I guarantee you, Billy Napier said, if we ever want to have a shot to get big time transfers that play DB in the portal, you got to have a coach that resonates with them. Right, so I'm happy for him. Obviously, I'm happy at the fact that he chose Florida. But now, clean slate, right? Clean slate. Now he gets to go into a system where he's going to get coached hard. But he said, Cormani said this. He goes, I want to go to a big time program. I want to go to a winning program. Certain people came out the woodwork saying Florida ain't no winning program. I said, who's not? What? Every great program has some down years, but to say that Florida's not one of the best programs in the country, I'm happy, buddy. I'm happy for two reasons. I'm happy for Cormani because I know as a person that never jumped into the portal, if I did, which I wouldn't, but if I did, I want to land somewhere, buddy, that has national credibility. Not just a good school. They're known nationally, and they have a national credibility and reputation. And number two, I really, really am happy for Billy Napier for this reason. What he has not done yet on the field, he has dominated in the portal and in recruiting. Not did well, dominated. When you look at the holes he's filled from the positions that we needed, from linebacker to you talk about O-line. Now you talk about because the thing about O-line and DB you can never have enough of is depth. I got to have starters that can play, and I got to have backups that could start at any given day. So it's gonna make that DB room that more impressive, buddy. Obviously, you got veteran leadership with the safety we got, coming over from UW. You talk about Will Harris. You talk about Marshall. You talk about that young defense. I think that a guy like Derek Wingo and company going to be able to bring in a guy like Cormani and say, look, we don't care about Colorado. We don't care about what happened. You wear orange and blue now. Let's go out there. Let's make it happen. So it was a big pickup. It really, really was. I mean, Billy Napier, he got the sauce right now. Because like I say, we never know how no player's going to pan out. No player. But as Coach Spurrier will say, look, you can never lose having a bunch of talent around you. I mean, the first thing to win, you got to have talent, and we're getting that. We're not getting players that other teams don't want. We getting players that they choosing us in spite of the fact that it didn't work out. He's still a very, very young guy. He got 3 years of eligibility left. shout out to Kamani, man. I mean, he wearing orange and blue now, and like I say, he can put Boulder behind him.
All right. Well, it's been a good week for the Florida Gators. A lot of Rays. Still got softball going on. A lot of things yet to happen. Francis Beard joins us tonight again. Good to have back Franz. And
we're lacrosse school.
Well, I was going to say, give us a rundown. We had some good news today. A couple of fronts, not the least of which is lacrosse, a sport primarily played up in the Northeast, as you know, on Johns Hopkins and all those schools up there, Maryland, etc. So, update us on lacrosse, and let's talk about U.S. softball.
Florida goes up to off to a 9-zip lead on Virgin Maryland, and on there in College Park of all places, they were odds-on favorites to win, ranked 4th in the nation, and Florida kicked their butts 15-9. Great defensive effort by Florida. Good scoring. The good thing about this team, Amanda O'Leary has, she's got multiple scorers. You cannot stop one. If you take one out, there's others that are going to pick up the slack. You cannot just stop. Some teams you take out their number one scorer, they got a problem. You could take out any one Florida player, and somebody else will pick up the slack. They're just that much depth and balance, and the defense is phenomenal. They play for the semifinals coming up, and win that, they could be in the championship game for the first time in school history. First time in the semifinals since 2012. So what a great statement being made by essentially a startup program, because everybody the Gators are playing has been playing lacrosse for many years longer than the Gators have played.
Got the Gainesville Regional going off here. Gators versus FGCU. The winner plays South Alabama versus Florida Atlantic. Looks like they ought to be able to manage through that one, and they've had a fantastic run. I think Tim Walton did one of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen by any coach at Florida in these recent games, especially his last 10. Your thoughts, Ben, and your thoughts, Franz?
I mean, what are we talking about, lacrosse right here?
Well, both. We're just talking about softball. I was talking about it right now.
I mean, I will say this about Florida Gators softball. I mean, when we talk about those elite teams at the University of Florida, we always talk about softball last when they could easily be talked about first. I mean, people talk. I remember when they did those renovations to make the new softball field and all these type of things. I mean, didn't they go back to back or something like that, or two? So I would say this about softball when it come to Florida Gator. Softball. I'm sorry, Florida Gator sports. They're up there to me for this reason. With it being so hard for women's sports to ever be at the forefront, when you talk about how much like men's sports dominate, Florida Gator softball. My daughter, thank God she don't play softball. That's the one sport she don't play yet, friends. Because if she did, I'm telling you, the thing about it is they don't lack anything. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to talk about Oklahoma softball, and granted, they've earned that, right? Before they come over to the SEC. You talk about the Sooners coming to Gainesville twice a year. How many times they play them? That's gonna be crazy. But shout out to Scott Strickland, who once again has a lot of freaking flyer miles. He don't know which way. Do I go to where lacrosse is? Do I go to where softball is? But shout out to the Florida Gator softball, but it continuing that winning tradition at the University of Florida that doesn't get enough recognition because even though I know Florida Gator baseball, Cags, we gonna miss you. We wasted your incredible season this year. It happens. But shout out to lacrosse, shout out to softball. Continue that dominance, because like I say, we're gonna add national championships in some way, shape, or form every single year. Shout out to the ladies for holding it down for the guys. If the guys don't want to get on board, hey man, we're gonna be rooting for them ladies, man, going out there balling right now.
Before we bring Loren on, I want to get Franz's take. We had a couple of transfers today. Again, Riley Kugel now has found his home in Mississippi State. Also, I don't remember Julian Wishwain. You do. Apparently, he transferred to Florida from San Francisco. He's taken his talents to UNLV. What does that mean, Franz?
Nothing. Really, it means that Riley Kugel has found a place. He's going to the place he originally signed. Um, and I wish him luck. He needs a change of scenery. Um, I don't know how much of it was a conflict of personalities, etc., like that, or um, I know this about Riley. Riley has this strong will to win, and some guys who can have a strong will to win take it upon themselves to be the guy, and when they do, it upsets the chemistry of the whole team. And I don't know if it was a case of Riley's own will to win or a conflict of personalities with the coach, whatever, but it didn't work out this year. He had some games when he was just phenomenal, and he had some games when he was, like wherever. I have
I've
Ron,
never seen such a wide swing in talents, and I mean he could look like Larry Bird one minute and Sam Bird the next. He just he could. I didn't understand why he was so inconsistent because we know he has the talent, and I'm sure as a coach that that there's coaches wondering what do I have to do to get this talent out of this guy because he does have the talent. Wish him the best. Didn't work out here. Move forward. Guys, I'm going to bring in real quick Loren Meadows, Coach Meadows, and we're going to talk about more, go back on the recruiting thing, where Florida has done exceptionally well, and now more to come. Still waiting on the other shoe to drop on Elijah Badger. What that might mean is supposedly tomorrow is the day he'll commit. And when you look at the whole list of players he's gotten, friends, particularly you see Billy's made some progress, hasn't he?
No, yeah, I would be willing to bet you. I would say there's probably a 90% chance that Elijah Badger is going to be a Gator. As I am told, Washington is out of the picture. It's between Florida and Arizona. Arizona's got a brand new coach. They lost all their offensive players from last year. Jed Fish is at Washington, and Elijah Badger chose not to go to Washington. I'm told it is going to um, be between Florida and Arizona. Arizona, I don't think has much going for him. The kid was a teammate of one Ricky Pearsall at Arizona State. I think that plays very much in his favor, and I'm sure Ricky Pearsall's told him, "Come catch passes from Graham Mertz; it'll do you good." And let's face it, a guy with the last name Badger, your quarterback is a former Badger, and one of the guys that's going to be playing wide receiver across from you, Chime DK, is another former Badger. Three Badgers. I mean,
A lot
hey,
of them Badgers out there for sure.
it's a lot of Badgers. I would say. No, I think it's probably about 90% certain he's going to be a Gator. But again, I think that going back to something Ben said, I think that Billy has taken a very systematic approach to bringing in the right transfers, not just any transfers, but the right transfers.
Yeah.
And I'll throw something else at you that I heard just a couple days ago. Two things. One of Manny Nunnery is back out of the portal. He is going to be a Gator next year.
I hope so. I like that kid.
As I understand, it was all about NIL money, and he's got his money, and he's happy. The other thing I've heard is beware of Ron Moten. As I understand it, Ron Moten is suddenly the lights have gone on, and he knows he's a linebacker. He knows he's a safety that it really doesn't have the top end speed you need
Yeah.
to be an eraser on that back end.
Yeah.
Good tackler. And as I'm told, that's another guy that transferred last year. We thought maybe
Right.
this guy's a transfer bust, but he's 230 something pounds now.
Yeah.
And he looks an awful lot like his dad did. And his dad
Yeah.
looked like
Heck of a player. Yeah. Let me bring Loren in real quick. I got to also tell folks about Titan MRI. That's Central Florida's newest premier independent diagnostic testing facility. They're open for business and they're willing to give you preferred service, customer service like you've never seen before. They'll make your appointments at nights, weekends. They focus on you, the patient, having a great customer service experience, and they will be able to accommodate you on your schedule for your MRI. Check them out. Go to TitanMRI.com. Well, good evening to you, Loren. Welcome back from Auburn. We talked to you earlier this week. You had a great trip out there, I know, and a lot of catching up to do on the world of recruiting. Cromani being one of those. What do you make of all this, Loren?
Yeah, I mean, Cormani's kind of seemed to find a home here in Gainesville. I think that, like I said, Tuesday night you have basically, if Cormani pans out, three NFL type corners, rangy guys. I mean, not huge guys, but guys that have some length to them and should really help what could be and should be an improved defense. Getting Cormani in the fold, and then like Franz said, Elijah Badger, who not just played with Ricky Pearsall at Arizona State, but I'm sure Ricky, spoke about what Billy Gonzalez can do for somebody at the receiver position. And, I mean, it's very clear how the four of us feel about Billy Gonzalez as a teacher of receivers and somebody who can get you prepared to go to the next level. So, with Graham Mertz coming back, his relationship with Ricky Pearsall, Billy Gonzalez, an offense that seems to spread the ball around. I think the receivers at Florida are going to be much better than people are giving them credit for. And you add Badger, I mean, you really got a nice group of receivers to kind of help move the chains with that offense. So, like I said before, I mean, if they can come together as a defense, I like Manny Nunnery as well. I'm glad he's coming back. He's kind of that hybrid that I think you need in that Ron Roberts, Austin Armstrong creeper type defense. You need those tweener guys on third down, that can rush, but can also drop back in coverage and lock on to a tight end or back out the backfield. And now they've got R.J. Moten and Manny Nunnery to kind of feel that, when they want to go nickel or, heavy nickel or dime and that kind of thing, and really play against some of the different offenses, the diverse offenses that they're going to see this season. So, I mean, right now, like I said, they got to go out and make plays. But on paper, the roster has definitely improved.
Yeah.
I think the coaching staff has improved, and the way that they're working has improved. Because, like I said before, there was a huge disconnect on that defense. Had to be.
Seems to be, yeah, for sure. In our limited time, I do want to address an issue that probably nobody cares about but us, but I do want to be on record as saying, and that is, as we know, there's been a change at the University of Florida. The director, well, what used to be called SID for football, I forget his title now, but Rick Hurtado, who's been running the football SID job for a while, has left the program. I want to go on record as saying if I created any misunderstanding about this, I want to explain when I broke the story. It was an ongoing fluid situation. I don't ever expect the average person to understand the relationship that media people have with people in the SID department, or what do you want to call it, sports information department, because it's ongoing, it's working. It's always different for a lot of people. And I want to say that I never have looked upon Rick Hurtado as a guy who did anything about any harm or did anything that hurt others. He did his job as best he could. I question how much actually leeway he had to do his job. Well, that's another story. So I wrote this out yesterday and tweeted that I'd heard rumblings about imminent changes. And I said the department's been criticized for lack of consistency and, frankly, poor communication with the football media. That's my opinion. Let's start there and say, tell me if I'm wrong. Start out, tell me if I'm wrong in saying that. Once you start, Ben, and go around the horn, do you think that was inaccurate? If you did, say so.
No, that's not inaccurate. That's how you feel. That's your opinion. When you talk about media, how else are we going to get, how else are we going to get the pulse of the team out to the public? And the thing about it is, being a part of media, for the limited time that I've been a part of media is the ultimate, you got to have people within the program to help you get stuff out. We understand that with everything being so hush-hush now, Steve McClain, who was the SID for a long time, at the University of Florida, I mean, he did it the right way. I mean, he understood that the coach ain't going to always have availability, but he ain't the president. I mean, you could talk to him now and again, can't you? And I just think that when you talk about the sports media at the University of Florida, I mean, that's a part of the greatness of the University of Florida when you saying, hey, man, we know how we have a working relationship. We understand that, availability to the coaches or, getting news out or getting questions answered. That's all media is. It ain't personal. It's business. Let's have a business, punctual, professional approach when it comes to it. And it hasn't been that. Like I say, I know my time in Florida and not understanding anything about the media outside of the fact that they wasn't letting me in their room my first 3 years. Like, hey, man, who in there? Don't even stick your head in there. Keep walking. Don't even look in there. My senior year, a little bit different. And the one thing I knew about the media was I go, look, man, I don't know what a hard question is. I know, Franz Bearder asked me a question. And I'm going to try my best not to say yes, sir, before I answer the question. Just try to answer the question. And here he is still doing it. Here Buddy Martin is still doing it. So if there is a lack, no. Since there has been a lack of, forget communication, professionalism, that stuff has to change. And if people don't like the fact that Buddy Martin is stating it, what? You don't, I mean, what they want you to do, they want you to just go, let's just go along to get along. No. I mean, what is going on? I've had some run-ins with Rick Furtado. It was always good when I did. He was real receptive but if he left for a reason. Wish him the best. I think he's going out into Miami. Wish him the best. But it's just because he left, you still got to, you still want to have, better communication or, something. You're going to have to do better than what they've done before, since his departure. Whoever's in that position now, hopefully they'll see the need to, having more of a working relationship with the sports media. And I realize there are 257,000 Gator podcasts. I get it, but that's not Franz Beard. That's not Buddy Martin. That ain't even Loren Meadows. You got to be able to talk to certain people so they can get the news out to the people. And if you don't like it, pick another job. If you don't like it,
here, and thank you for that. And I'm not asking for you to make excuses for me. I appreciate your thoughts. Here's a comment from Michael Burton, and he's right about that. But then you hear guys like George, whoever George is. Nobody gives a blank about press conference. We care about the W. Well, you know what, George? That's the typical short-sighted mentality. If you could ever read or hear anything about your team, how would you like that? So this is what you deal with. Unfortunately, most people think like George. They don't get the media piece of this. So I'll give Loren an opportunity since he's the newest member of the media here. You've seen it from both sides. Don't make excuses. Don't defend me and take up for me. And we'll let Franz take over and muck it up from there. But I wanted to say, I did say after I sent the first tweet out, what do you call them now, X out, and I got a lot of people hammering me about it. And I knew Rick was going to leave. I didn't know the circumstances. So I wrote this out. Just received a text from Rick Hurtado at UF, and he told me he's going to work in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins. Says he loved his time at UF and denied any issues with the reason. Well, there you go. I tweeted that out. And of course, the next comment was, well, Buddy's backing up faster and more backpedaling faster than Kamani McLean. I'm not backing up. I'm reporting the story as it comes out. So I realize it's hard for people to understand. Looking from the outside in, they think we're here for the free meal and the press box seat and all that stuff. Loren, you're new to it. Tell them what it's like.
Well, I will say this, Buddy, what makes you you and what makes you a true legend in the media is that you don't shy away from the conflict. And what I mean by that is I won't get into my personal feelings about it when it comes to you. I will say, though, that you said what a lot of people are afraid to say. And not only that, almost backtracked and made it seem like they didn't have the same concerns that you do. And that's what I don't like about it is, a lot of people had something to say about your tweet and they feel the same way. And Franz can back me up on this. Everybody walks away from some of these press conferences pretty frustrated. A lot of times with football, for a lot of reasons, the time it takes. It's supposed to be 6 o'clock and they don't start till 7, or the viewing period and what time that is supposed to start and how they deal with those things. And it has been interesting being a new member of the media, how it just seems to not be a priority. And the media is the ones that kind of continue to control the narrative. So, I'll keep it at that, is that the one thing that surprises me is just it seems very apathetic at times within the Florida program when it comes to the media. And shame on those that didn't necessarily stand with you as colleagues and express some of the concerns that they've expressed behind closed doors. It was like now all of a sudden everybody's sitting on their hands when Buddy Martin said what he had to say. So, I have had the fortunate opportunity to be in the press box, rub elbows with some of these guys, and it is frustrating. And the frustration is not necessarily with Rick Hurtado, because I'm sure he's being told to carry himself in a particular way. So it goes back to some of those concerns. And one of my friends calls Coach Napier Saint Nape. That Saint Nape seems to be kind of, throwing out there, is that maybe that's the way he wants things to go. And that's fine. But in my opinion, and I've said this before, you can't go 6-7 and 5-7. You can be that way if you're going out there and you're kicking people's teeth in. But when you got these head scratching moments and it's just kind of ho hum, that's what's frustrating to me as a member of the media and somebody that I know a lot of football. I don't think I do. I know I do. And you walk into these press conferences and you ask yourself, does he realize that he's talking to some people like a Franz Beard who's been around the game longer than some of us have been alive? And then there may be 2 or 3 of us that played football at a pretty high level and were pretty good at it, that you're going to say, well, we were in a weak rotation and I'm standing on the field and the formation was to the strong side of the field. Why would you be in a weak rotation? It's like those answers that just come out of nowhere because, well, they don't know what they're talking about. And I think some respectability, like we say in the hood, put some respect on my name. I think there needs to be some respect on some people's name in the media, particularly those that have covered the Gators, seen it all, and really could help this program flourish as it continues to evolve. So that's
Franz Beard would know. Franz, you think it's going to change? And this all came about as a result of a conversation we were having. I think you were part of it because of Norm Carlson, the late Norm Carlson, who died last Friday, and kind of sort of broke the mold. I mean, he was one of a kind. He was a legend. He goes back to the days, Franz, where people not only helped you in your job in the media, but really you could hardly do your job without him. And Norm was always there for you, help you any way he could. It was a different thing then, a different thing now. That's not Rick Hurtado's fault. I understand that.
No.
But I guess we should probably remember we can't go back, turn the clock back and go back then, friends.
Well, here's what we can do. And it starts at the top. Scott Strickland, who is a former SID himself and a very good one, I have to tell you, he was extraordinary. Not just good, he was extraordinary. Remember when he was at Kentucky, handling Kentucky basketball, and as you guys know, Kentucky basketball up there, they think that it has a place in heaven. That if you're a former Wildcat basketball player, you got your special subdivision in heaven when you croak. And Scott was great up there. That's where it starts. Scott Strickland can say to his football coach, to his basketball coach, to all of his coaches, this is the way we do things here, and sets the tone. Why do you think Auburn continues to have as good a relationship with the media as anybody? And I can tell you why. Because it starts at the top there, and they have this rule at Auburn that you'll treat the guys with respect. Why is it that Buddy and I, and this goes back a few years, we go to Ole Miss, for example, and they not only have media parking in a pretty good place, but they send a golf cart out to carry us there. We go to Arkansas, and it's a pretty steep hill. We're parked away, but guess what? They have a golf cart to take us there. Now, I'm not saying that we should get special privileges or whatever like that, but they treat you well. They treat you well. Because here's the thing, I run into people every single day who ask me this question: when are we going to get a story about so and so? When are we going to get a story about so and so? On and on and on. Well, when they make them available to us, we might. But, you know, there's this thing about circle the wagons, circle the wagons, circle the wagons. When Urban Meyer got his health started deteriorating, access to Urban got tighter, and so did access to the players, and they used Tim Tebow as an excuse because they had to protect Tebow because Tebow would just get mobbed. And of course, you know, you had to do the overnight hike from the practice field to the locker room back in those days. And Tebow had bodyguards and everything like that, and they still couldn't get him there in time. I mean, it was like a circus. You come down there waiting for players to come out there and everything like this. So it became a convenient excuse, but that's what it was. It was an excuse, and it has remained an excuse. And Scott Strickland can set the tone. All he's got to do is say, "Hey, Billy Napier, you're going to be in front of the media X number of times a week, and you're going to talk to them." Now, you can say, okay, freshmen aren't talking, but you're going to make players available to the media. And when the media says, "Hey, I'd really like to talk to old Jim Bob over there. Got a story I need to do about him," you say, "Okay, we'll make that arrangement." You know, we don't have that ability to do that anymore. We used to get in. Now, I know this is old school and this doesn't work anymore. We used to get into the locker room after the game. I mean, we'd go right in, go up to the locker, start talking to the players. My first press conference that I ever attended, Johnny Vaught comes out of the Ole Miss locker room and they hand him a tumbler of Maker's Mark and a lit cigar. And he talks to us. He said a few words that you can't repeat in church, and nobody printed them.
Yeah, but Franz, your first press conference, they were still stuffing the football, and they had leather helmets. So that's how far back that goes.
Yes, they did, and a field goal counted 4 points,
There you
and
go.
a touchdown 5. You know.
All right, that's all good stuff. Now I have this appointment tomorrow in Gainesville to go to this place called Florida Field, Seasburg, Florida Field, for the Jeffrey Meldon Law Scholar athlete. And my clock says, buddy, if you don't go to bed now, you won't get up tomorrow to be there. But I'm going to leave it with you guys right now. I'm going to give you one comment, one suggestion per person, no longer than 30 seconds. If you could be the SID or the athletic director of Florida tomorrow, what would you change first and foremost? One thing about the media relations. Ben, what would you do?
I would change availability and transparency. That's what the media is. Like, just go in there and say, "Listen, we realize it's been this way. I don't want to hear about this." If Florida's making the news for being the Ivy League school down and in the South and all these different things, look, the media is your best friend. How hard is it to make the media, make them available, right, and be transparent and go home? That's it. Don't make it hard. Availability. I want to see your face, and I want you to talk to me. And guess what? We want to know about some of these players. Media.
Right. Loren, time's up. Loren?
I would do like Tennessee, Utah, Missouri, and others. I would give the media access to the field before the game and 5 minutes left in the game to be on the field.
Franz?
First and foremost, I would say if I'm the athletic director, I call all my coaches in and I say, guess what, folks? The adversarial relationship with the media ends today. This is a great place to work, and you don't have to work here if you don't like it. You know, that I think that it starts at the top. You hear the stuff about economy, trickle down economy. It's called trickle down. Be the boss, and you're the boss. You set the tone for everybody, and that has not happened with the last two athletic directors. They let stuff go,
All
and
right.
they did not give a rat's ass about the media,
All
and it's
right.
a bad
30 seconds. That's all you get. Guys, you were all terrific tonight. Thank you so much for everything you did. Thanks to Jeffrey Meldon, who's truly one of the good guys around and a great supporter of the show. Have a great night. I'm going to tell folks about the Ren Star and go get my milk and cookies and back for Gainesville. Good night, Franz. Good night, Loren. And good night, Ben. Thank you.
Good night,
All right.
John Boy.
All right, folks, just want to wrap up here telling you, as I do every night, about Ren Star. Such a special group of people have done so much for us in Ocala and also for this program. They're very Gator centric there. Joe Sorrentino's son, Joey, paid for the Gators, and his partner is Mary Brantley, married to Scott Brantley. How much more Gator can you get than that? But they're also people who care about the people in the North Central Florida area, and they do these research, clinical research things that go on, these trials, which are really the basis for introducing new therapies to the public here safely. And it would not exist without your commitment to doing the clinical trials. They are very, very key. So if you get a chance, log on to the website, renstar.net, find out how you could take part in one of these clinical trials, and you might be the one who takes the placebo. You never know. But the thing about it is you'll get these new study-related medications, procedures at no charge to you and or your insurance company. You might get also new investigational medications or devices not otherwise available and receive compensation for your time and travel. Check them out. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thank you for our guests. Thank you for our sponsor. Thank you for joining the program tonight. We're back, really probably back tomorrow night some. We're posting stuff from Meldon Law's Scholar Athlete program tomorrow night. Thank you. Take care, and we will check you out then.